Guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have Edward Newgate versus Boa Hancock. It's going to be Chase versus Lamb, who's going to be piloting my Boa list, highlighted in previous videos. But I think this matchup is actually heavily Boa favored. Whitebeard does win a lot of his games through the pressure of his Marcos and dropping 9-beard, but Boa in any blue deck has a ton of removal with no cost restrictions with the red rock, and being able to gravity blade his Marcos does hurt him a lot. So we'll see if Chase is able to play around the removal of Boa Hancock, but the first couple turns are pretty standard. Looks like Lamb passed on his first turns, not being able to find any searchers in his first hand, and Chase dropping 2 Ezos to grab a couple of cards for himself. So going into his 3 Dawn turn, looks like Lamb just swings in for 8 and that connects. Must not feel good for the Whitebeard player, just because you don't want to be taking life too early on. And especially against blue decks, there's always a chance that they will drop the pudding and basically refresh your hand. So I'm surprised he didn't counter out of that 8k swing, but we'll see if Lamb has the pudding to punish him for that. Paying 1 Dawn here, drops down. I believe this card boosts a 1 cost, and he opts to swing in for 7 here. I'm surprised he didn't do 5-5-6. I think that would have forced Lamb to discard more cards and probably still being able to get life, but he opts in for a 7-7 swing instead. So Lamb going into his 5 Dawn turn, instantly ripping that pudding, and that's what I was talking about earlier, where the Boa and any blue decks have such an easy time against decks that rely on building a large hand, just because pudding is always a threat, being able to recycle their hand, only that allowing them to redraw 5 cards. And so here, I think he does a good job just clearing board, and then playing down the Sengoku to take 5 more cards for his following turns. He grabs the Gecko here. He should be able to recycle some of his counters that he thrown down. Looks like he has a Jinbei in the grave that he's going to be able to bring back once he plays that Gecko. So Whitebeard dropping down the Ezo, seeing what he could find. He does grab another Marco here, and he has the Dawn to play him down, but it must feel really bad to play him down against blue decks, just because they do have a lot of removal that Marco can't play around, since I believe his effect only counts for KO effects. But when you bottom deck him, he just immediately gets removed from the board. So he opts to drop the Nami down, digs for the no blocker Luffy, and with 4 Dawn up, looks like he might just swing with his little bodies and his leader. So he starts off with a 6k swing to life. Boa takes it, and might go with another 6k swing at life. And I can't imagine he'll take this one, and he counters out with a 2k counter. So Newgate already down to 2 health, reaching the danger zone. I believe only at 8 Dawn next turn he won't be able to drop the 9-beard, so it'll be interesting to see his game plan. But Lamb starts off his turn with the Sengoku, going 2 into 2. That drops. And Boa Hancock dropping down, being able to spin back the Nami and stunning one of those Uzos. 6k in the lead here. Easy counter for the Whitebeard. And that should be the end of his turn. One interesting interaction that you should keep in mind about is that Boa Hancock actually cannot stun Monkey D. Luffy's. So if Chase were to tempo out his Luffy's and apply pressure early on, the Boa Hancock actually cannot stun him. So that's something to think about. If you're playing Whitebeard into Boa or a blue deck, they would be forced to remove him or attack him to get rid of him. So that's what I was talking about there. Looks like Chase spent his turn developing 2 Marcos that can't be KO'd very easily, but because the blue decks bottom deck them, he's able to Gravity Blade and get rid of both of the Marcos in one turn. And it looks like he Hound Blazes so that he can remove the entire board there. I'm surprised he didn't attach the Hound Blaze to his leader there to swing 8-8. Instead, he opts to swing in for the 11 large swing to try to pressure and get the Whitebeard player as low as possible. And 9beard finally coming down. Not sure if this is going to be too impactful, just because it seems like the Boa Hancock is already too established at this point, and with 0 life, I cannot see Whitebeard being able to survive a couple more turns. And the Red Rock coming out, Whitebeard's not able to keep any pressure on the board actually. And the nail in the coffin right here, the second pudding, ripping out 2 more cards out of the Whitebeard player's hand. I believe he had 7 cards in hand, and pudding allowing him to recycle only 5. Really big play here from the Boa Hancock. So yeah, this duel really showcases how strong Boa is into these more control heavy large hand decks, just because she's able to both interact with their large bodies and get rid of them, and also deal with their hand if it gets too large. So here I believe Lamb opts not to swing into Whitebeard for 8, just because he wants to make sure that he can attach all of his Dawn next turn and swing large into the Whitebeard. And so another 9beard gets drawn off of the pudding recycle, and I believe this is 8 into face. So here Lamb has to decide if he wants to just get rid of 2 counters or take the life, but he opts to take the 2 counters. And with a fully recycled hand, it's really unlikely that Chase picked up the counter he needs for this crackback. So I can't imagine he could counter if Lamb decides to swing 18 at lead here with the Boa Hancock. So let's see what he does here, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. So 18 in the lead. Chase doesn't have the counter for it, trying to bait out the Rad Beam with the 1 mana up. But yeah, it looks like Boa Hancock easily dispatches Whitebeard in this duel here. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.